Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. This is Praatibh. I've also got Megha alongside me. And we're getting closer to the IPL, so there is going to be a lot of rumors going around. We will address some of them, but let's get right into it. Hit that like, share this video, subscribe, and let's get right into the news.
And we might just also contribute in circulating some of those rumors. All right, then let's get started. Ishan Kishan likely to lead SRH. Team India's left-handed batter Ishan Kishan is the front-runner to lead Sunrisers Hyderabad in the upcoming IPL 2026 season, as there is yet no clarity on when Pat Cummins will link up with the squad. As per media reports, the SRH management has had a discussion in this regard, and Kishan has been identified as a more suitable candidate to have the armband in the Australian fast bowler's absence. Abhishek Sharma will be Ishan's deputy in the season. Kishan has established himself as one of the most explosive wicketkeeper batters in the IPL across 119 matches in the tournament, playing for three franchises, including Sunrisers Hyderabad. He has scored 2,998 runs from 112 innings at an average of 29.10 and a strike rate of 137.64. His tally includes one century, 17 half centuries, 288 fours, 134 sixes, underlining his aggressive batting style. Kishan played a key role for India during the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026, finishing as India's second highest run scorer with 317 runs in 9 innings at an average of 35.22 and a strike rate above 193. His campaign included three half centuries, including one in the final, helping India clinch the title. Speaking after the victory, he said, "Our team won. Obviously, it is a very good thing, not only for us, but for the whole nation. We hope to continue playing cricket like this and keep winning."
All right, now take this news with a pinch of salt because just a day before this, there was a likeliness of Abhishek Sharma who'll lead SRH, and today and yesterday it was suddenly Ishan Kishan with Abhishek Sharma now being the deputy. So that's something to keep in mind. But if all likeliness and all logic is to prevail, then it would make sense for Ishan Kishan to step up as the captain, right? He's been the captain for Jharkhand. He in fact led them to their first ever Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy as well. So he's got a proven track record and that very recently as well. Pat Cummins has been injured, and that's something that we will also, in fact, cover today itself. So, all things considered, I think Ishan Kishan, just for him to have the kind of arc that he's had. In fact, I think in one of the recent award functions, Abhishek Sharma was asked about his struggle during the T20 World Cup itself. And then Ishan Kishan jokingly said that he struggled for a couple of years before making it back into that Indian team. So, he's got that experience, he's got a certain maturity that has come into his batting, and that leadership has also translated into a victory for Jharkhand. So Sunrisers will hope that that is something that he can pick up on and carry the mantle forward for this leadership group. And of course, if Pat Cummins does come back at some point in the tournament, it will be natural that he takes over as captain. But Ishan Kishan just seems to have the right kind of energy, and that's something even someone like Shahbaz Nadeem has spoken about, where he's talked about how Ishan Kishan has just proven to be a very natural leader right from a young age. Even in the under 19 setup, he was a captain, and so it's not something that will be new to him. And I think all in all, I think Sunrisers, in this regard, if this is the correct piece of news, then they've made the right decision.
Oh, interesting. Although somehow feel that Abhishek Sharma too, if we
Hmm.
consider that side of the rumors, has led Punjab. Although obviously did not win the Syed Mushtaq Ali recently because
True.
that Ishan Kishan did. So we'd continue contributing. We'd continue fueling. So nonetheless, moving on to the next story, like you cued, Hazlewood Cummins unlikely to play in the early IPL 2026 fixtures. Defending champions Royal Challengers Bangalore looks set to start the IPL 2026 campaign without champion fast bowler Josh Hazlewood. The season star will miss the opening two games for his franchise as he continues his recovery from an injury-laden home summer where he missed the entire Ashes series. Hazlewood, who suffered a hamstring injury before picking up the Achilles complaint during his recovery, was one of the keys to RCB finally breaking their IPL title drought last year, picking up 22 wickets at 17.5 for the most for his team. Hazlewood is likely to be joined on later rivals list for the IPL by fellow Australian fast bowling elite in Pat Cummins, who too is not expected to feature in Sunrise Hyderabad's opening few matches, which includes a clash against Hazelwood's RCB on the opening night of the season on March 28th. The SRH captain only played a solitary test during the Ashes at the Adelaide Oval in mid-December, having been in rehabilitation from a niggling back injury that he picked up last July in the Caribbean. Both Hazlewood and Cummins subsequently had been ruled out of the T20 World Cup, where Australia crashed out eventually in the first round. The Cricket Australia medical staff have monitored their two mainstays very closely over the last few months, and they continue to do so, leaving a bit of a cloud over the duo's exact availability for their respective IPL franchises, even if for now they remain very much in the mix to play a decent chunk of the season.
All right. So, I mean, picking up on the last news itself, there has been a lot of Australian injuries going around. Of course, even the likes of someone like Tim David was also injured and missed the entire T20 World Cup. So that is something that is quite the issue for the Australian side. We saw that in the T20 World Cup itself, where they struggled to make it past the group stage. In fact, they didn't. And so coming into this IPL as well, I don't know for SRH if it's going to be that big of an impact. Of course, they do lose a leadership player, they do lose their captain, but in terms of skill sets of players that are out there, I think they can make up for that loss in the bowling lineup. Whereas for RCB, I don't think that's necessarily the case, right? Because Josh Hazelwood last season, I mean, we've already looked at how many wickets he picked up and how well he did it bowling in tandem with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, both in the power play as well as the death. And you could even bring him into those middle overs. So he's been a really good T20 bowler. And last season, he did fire in all departments, in all phases rather of the game. So keeping that in mind, I think Josh Hazelwood will be a bigger miss at the start of the tournament for RCB as compared to Pat Cummins for SRH. And even if you think for RCB in terms of the kind of replacements they might have, they do have someone like Jacob Duffy who could come into the mix, but he's also not had a particularly good T20 World Cup. And Josh Hazelwood as well, because of the fact that he's just had very limited game time, can he just come in straight away and get firing right from the get go is something that they will have to keep in mind. Megha, do you have any thoughts on RCB, SRH? Who's going to struggle more on this?
Well, I do feel that Pat Cummins has been that central figure around which SRH have functioned, though not necessarily in terms of him being a champion bowler that he is otherwise for Australia, but
Hmm.
just the captain, just the senior member of the team. I think if he's not present, say for a chunk of the campaign, then it could be an issue because the other two, for all the experience leading, whoever leading an army of superstars, that is going to be a slightly different challenge. Indian
Correct.
players, obviously, I believe are up for it, but I think it would be a challenge. Though RCB, obviously, and Hazelwood, we did see him contributing massively last season. Moving on, KKR not seeking replacements for Harshit Rana, Matisha Patirana. Kolkata Knight Riders will not seek replacements for Harshit Rana and Matisha Patirana. Well, that rhymes and actually is same at the end, albeit for different reasons. Rana, who had to be withdrawn from India's T20 World Cup squad at the last minute due to a knee injury, will not be available for the Knight Riders this season. He will need time to recover fully as he underwent surgery recently. Rana had emerged as a reliable pacer for the franchise over the past couple of seasons, taking 19 and 15 wickets in the 2024 and 2025 editions of the IPL, respectively. He had also begun adding batting heft to his pace bowling and appeared to be cementing his place in India's T20I squad before the recent injury setback. The Knight Riders management believes it has sufficient pace bowling options. Besides, it does not see an obvious Indian replacement for Rana. The squad already has four Indian pacers in its ranks: Vaibhav Arora, Umran Malik, Kartik Tyagi, and Akash Deep.
Again, it continues on the injury on the trend of injuries, right? A lot of players, a lot of key players, in fact, in this IPL are coming into it injured. So teams will have to worry about that. But I think in KKR's case, it is okay. It's actually heartening to see that they've chosen to not have replacements for these players, because that could very easily signal that the player is just out for the entire tournament. So in the KKR's fans' perspective, at least you know that Harshit Rana and Matisha Patirana both should be back at some point. Now, Harshit Rana often might fly under the radar in terms of what he's been able to do in the IPL over the last 3 years. But he's been one of the best bowlers in terms of his ability to pick up wickets. Now, he might be slightly expensive, but just the fact that he can keep getting your wickets, can ball across phases of the game, is someone who can hit the deck hard, can generate good pace, especially when you know that you're just going to be bowling those 4 over bursts. I think he becomes a really good package. And now, add to the fact that because of his India experience, he is going to be bringing a lot more to the table, and also the fact that he's improved his batting a fair bit. So, especially considering the fact that Andre Russell has retired, which means that there is going to be some sort of power struggle to get the right kind of balance for KKR, right? And so, keeping that in mind, Harshit Rana does become an important player that they are currently missing out on because of the balance he can bring. So, it's nice in a way that they know that he hopefully should be back at some point in the tournament. And with Matisha Patirana also, it's a similar case, right? He picked up the injury during the World Cup. In fact, played I think just about games and got 2 wickets or something like that. It's an injury that he's had before. It's a calf strain, if I'm not wrong. But for Matisha Patirana, once again, it's the case of how good he's been, right? He's been one of the best death bowlers in the IPL. Of course, he was with the CSK, and MS Dhoni was just able to sort of bring out the best in him. So, keeping all of that in mind, Matisha Patirana will be a huge miss. Having said that, for KKR fans, at least there is a hope that he will come back midpoint through the tournament. And yeah, I think that's really all there is to it. It's just about when these players can make it back. Does it get to a point where it becomes too late in the tournament? These are some things that I'm sure the management will have good information on.
All right, then. Although in Harshit Rana's case,
Mhm.
Pratibh, you want to add to it?
It says that he might not be back in time for the IPL, but fingers crossed for KKR fans.
Absolutely, considering that it is a surgery that we're talking about. Moving on to the next story, and that's quite an interesting story and a party that is soon to unfold. CSK planned mega reunion at Chepauk on March 22nd. A Chennai Super Kings reunion will be held in Chennai on March 22nd, with the franchise inviting several of its former players, including those currently associated with other IPL teams. Among those who have confirmed participation are Muthia Muralidharan, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Matthew Hayden, Gujarat Titans, and Wayne Bravo, Kolkata Knight Riders. There was an element of curiosity among the IPL teams when the word got out about the planned function, leading to chatter that there possibly may be a major announcement. However, the franchise officials were quick to clarify that it is merely a formal pre IPL do, a mark for the launch of the season. It is just a pre launch for the season and an exercise in fan engagement. There's nothing more to read into it. Chennai Super Kings CEO Kasi Viswanath clarified to Crickbuzz, confirming that several former players, largely Indian, and those who have represented the franchise over the past 16 seasons will be present. Around 19-20 former players are expected to attend, in addition to the current squad and support staff. In typical Chennai Super Kings style, the event is expected to be a grand affair, running from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the M. H. Chidambaram Stadium, with a segment reserved for a performance by Oscar winning music director A.R. Rahman.
Now, there was no reason for me to put this news in except for the fact that it's just fan service, right? Now, as people who are Chennai Super Kings fans, they can go to the stadium, they can possibly witness this gathering of a lot of Chennai Super Kings superstars from the past, and that's something that would just be a nice experience, especially if, say, someone who has recently become a CSK fan wants to know about the legacy of CSK and the kind of players they've had. This would be a great event to just go out to with your family, with your friends, whoever it is, and it almost feels like a bit of a college alumni meetup. That's the first thought that sort of came to my mind. And yeah, it's just kind of nice that there are players, I mean, the likes of Mutai Muralidharan, and goes way back about 15, 16 years when he used to play for CSK. Then you also have some recent stars who will be coming. You will have a lot of these players who've played a lot of cricket together over the years in the IPL, accomplished great things, and most of these will also be champions because they've won. CSK has won so many trophies that they would have won at some point during their tenure with CSK. So keeping that in mind, I think it's a nice amalgamation of all of these players. The fact that it's also happening at Chepauk, the fact that it's also featuring AR Rahman, so it is going to be a proper blast that people can enjoy. And really, that's the only reason I wanted this new segment, is so that you guys know, if you, in case you're in Chennai, you can actually turn up to this event. And just a little bit of fan service. Maybe other teams are also going to be doing similar things, so you should keep your eye out, especially if you want to make sure that you visit these events. Maybe even get a chance to interact with some of these cricketers, because I'm sure there will be an interaction angle to this as well.
Now, as obvious as this seems that what a wonderful thing it should have happened before, it probably has not happened before with any other
Yeah,
team. In CSK's case, it's more straightforward because the sense of identity is very clear. There are a lot of players who've been associated with the team for the longest time. So
true.
CSK, like MI, has believed in continuity and not chopping and changing. So a lot of these people coming back to this function makes a lot of sense because no matter which other team they played for a while in between, they've been
Hmm.
the CSK players. The recall
Yeah,
value is
love.
primarily around CSK in the IPL.
True.
Moving on to the final story before we head to the memes. Devon Conway, bowler star as New Zealand make it 1-all. New Zealand leveled the 5-match T20I series against South Africa with a dominant performance in Hamilton. After being put into bat on a surface the women's side praised for its batting friendliness, New Zealand relied on Devon Conway's experience to post a challenging target. They may even have felt they left a few runs out there with Conway, because Conway, with the 48-run opening stand that he had, was the highest. South Africa spinners were particularly expensive as Keshav Maharaj and George Lind conceded 78 runs in 6 overs that they bowled. In the end, New Zealand scored exactly the same number of runs as they posted just over a month ago. against South Africa in the group game of the T20 World Cup. Then South Africa eased the target with 17 balls to spare. This time they were bowled out for their 10th lowest score in the format, an exact mirror of what New Zealand's lineup did in the first match. Only Linde scored more than 30 as Ben Sears and Lockie Ferguson took 6 wickets between them in an incisive display of quick bowling. With South Africa women winning early in the day, both men's and women's team in the series are locked at 1-all.
I think a really funny indicator of or a really good indicator of how funny cricket can be is just the fact that just last month there were similar scores and the other team won, whereas this time it was New Zealand who came out on top. And so cricket can be funny slash cruel in that way. But if you look at this series, both men and women are playing at the same time, so it's something that's going on simultaneously. A lot of action there. South Africa is touring New Zealand, so that's something you can watch out for, but specifically in this game as well, right? New Zealand got 175 for 6, and then South Africa were bundled out for just 107. What was very interesting is the lineups that are playing, because if you look at the lineups that are featuring for both of these sides, it is not, I would say, their best teams that are out there, because some of their players are unavailable or resting, or they're possibly going to the IPL. So you'll see that a lot of new players are being tried out. It's probably a great opportunity for them as well. And with New Zealand, interestingly, so they have three different variations of squads that they are playing with. So the first two in T20 had a certain set 15, the second and third have a certain set 15, and the fourth and fifth once again have a different 15. So they are going all out, trying all of their pool of talent, and hopefully they can get out a star from this. But all in all, I think a couple of things you'd watch out for from an IPL point of view is how someone like Mitchell Santner does, is how someone like Loki Ferguson does, who are in IPL franchises, but they haven't had particularly the best season. Santner, of course, has been doing well with the ball, and so for him, it'll just be a case of whether or not he's doing good enough to become a starter in the playing 11. Whereas for Loki Ferguson, he had a terrible World Cup, and so this series might just be an opportunity for him to not only get some good game time and focus on maybe his strengths, but also to make a case to be starting in one of these IPL 11s. And really, yeah, that's all there is to it. Just watch out for the series. There's still so many T20s and games to be played, so yeah, definitely watch out for that.
Oh, you timed it so well. Just inside the 3 minutes. Now, Dutt Atre, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, has been obviously expressing his opinions. And one of the recent ones being he believes MST should be playing this IPL at number 4 batting position. And he's also seeking other people, their opinions to it. All right, then. So we move on to the meme. And Raju is being trolled for no reason. CSK and RCB fans, sort your fight. Do not involve Raju, who apparently is a kid, isn't he?
Well, for people who might not have watched Chota Beam, this is a Chota Beam reference, but I think I just wanted to highlight this because the fan wars have clearly begun in the IPL scheme of things. And basically, I mean, it's a back and forth, right? RCB and CSK have this rivalry, the Southern Derby, as you would know it is called. Now, of course, with CSK getting banned, they're referring to the 2 year ban as the two hair on Raju's head, whereas the retort is how RCB is just won the one trophy, which is less than the number of hair that he has on his head. And we're going to see so much of this through the season, right? We are going to see this back and forth across franchises, across the fans, but especially these more established franchises that have been around since the start. RCB, CSK, Mumbai, all of these teams. I think Rajasthan, me being a Rajasthan fan, I also get a lot of slack for having won the tournament just once. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of this through the IPL. And really, there's not much more to it. If you guys have anything in the comments, if you have any roasts, you can definitely put that down. And I'm sure a fan from another franchise will come and they will roast you back. So watch out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of festival. And that's really it from us today at Wake Up Cricket, powered by Pavilion Picks. If you made it this far, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Last time I spoke about how we've crossed the triple century and now we need to get to Brian Lara's 400. So let's do that. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.